Donald Trump said, you pregnant and you got headaches, you better not take no Tylenol.
I don't know. I'd say I'm reasonable.
Okay, that's completely unreasonable.
I'm reasonable.
I'm unreasonable.
You have no idea just how reasonable I have been.
Reasonable synonyms are sensible, rational, practical, fair, appropriate.
Fitting, suitable, logical.
All things I would definitely say describe me.
Do they describe you?
Welcome to I'm Reasonable with Zainab Johnson.
I'm reasonable.
Welcome to another episode of I'm Reasonable with Zainab Johnson. I am Zainab Johnson. Thank you so much for tuning in. For all of my reasons that return every single week, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you guys. Also, if you're new here, if this is your first time or maybe just your second, be reasonable. Thank you so much for being here, but be reasonable. Okay. So I was filming like this teaser trailer for an artist associate of mine because she wrote a movie and she's trying to sell it, and she wanted to put something together to, attract someone buying it, right? Like, hey, here's a proof of concept. Here's the script, but also here's my vision for how I see this script coming, to life. And so I filmed that a couple of weeks ago, and you meet a lot of people on set, and I met this guy from the South, and he was from one of those like typical Southern states, like Mississippi, Georgia, North Carolina, just one of them states that when somebody says I'm from the South, that's the state that you think of, and don't be coming in here being unreasonable. Like, what you mean a typical state? I mean like Alabama, not Arkansas. No shade to Arkansas, but when somebody says to me, oh yeah, I'm from the South, Arkansas going to be the last thing to come in my mind. And I know we got a president from Arkansas, but it's going to be the last thing. We had a president, rather, that is from Arkansas. That's going to be the last thing. That's going to be one of the last states in the South that comes to mind. Is it even in the South? It's in the South, right? Bill Clinton sound like he from the South. Remember, I do not have sexual relations with that woman. Whatever, it don't matter. Anyway. Obviously, when you're on set or anywhere, right, where you're meeting new people, especially in Los Angeles, because a lot of us are transplants, you're going to have naturally the conversation, where you from? Where you from? Oh, where you from, right? And of course, I'm always going to say the truth, which is I'm from New York, right? I don't even be like New York City, because I'm going to be very honest with y'all. A lot of times I just be talking and people actually tell me I'm from New York. They be like, you from New York? I be like, how did you know? They be like, girl, how did I know? Do you hear the way you talk? And I be like, I thought that I don't know. I thought that I talk regular. Like I could hear it when I say talk, and I could hear, okay, whatever. Anyway, sometimes they be calling me out, but if not, I be like, oh, I'm from New York, because I am. That's just the truth, right? And of course, y'all know I love New York. It's the greatest city in the world, but whatever. And so the guy who was from the South, the reason why I'm saying the South is because I can't remember what state he said, or city. Maybe he said a city, maybe he said a state. I can't remember, but he was definitely Southern. And he was like, as soon as I said I'm from New York, he had a very strong opinion. And this is like something that people do, it's not like malicious. It's not harmful. It's just something people do. I guess New York, our reputation precedes us. But he was like, yeah, I think that Southerners are, just nicer than New Yorkers. And I'm like, well, first of all, you're going to compare an entire region? Like, you're going to compare an entire quadrant of a country to one little state? Okay. In my mind, I'm thinking that. I don't say that because y'all know I'm an observer. I sit back in the conversation, let you talk, listen, assess, let you have the conversation with yourself, mostly. But he said, and let me be clear, this was a nice guy. Like, we had a good time filming. But I was like, oh, okay, what makes you say that? Because, you guys, not only am I reasonable, but I'm very curious, And so I was like, oh, what makes you say that? And he was like, I don't know. That's just what I heard. And I'm like, Okay. And then I proceeded to engage, right? I was like, well, I think that there is a conflation or a confusion between like politeness and niceness. And I do think people in the South are polite. I think you've had to be polite longer. You've had to say yes, sir, and no, ma'am, and I don't know. You just have had to be polite. I think that if somebody was like, a lot of the New Yorkers I've met, they not polite. I don't know if I would push back on that. I don't, because it's like I can't dispute what you're saying, right? I can't dispute what you're saying is your experience, but I just know in New York we're very nice, but all the like the politeness of it, we ain't got time for it. We don't have time for that. It's a lot of people in a very small city. The train door is closing. You can't go up the steps fast enough. You're going to get run down. Oh, you getting in this car? Okay, if you're not getting in this car, I'm getting in this car. There's not enough time. There's not enough time for me to make you feel good, for me to make you feel, there's not enough time. And so this is what I appreciate about being a New Yorker and like my city. I appreciate that we just say what it is. I think the sentence, it is what it is, I'm sure that comes from New York. I'm not, but I would put money on it. If this was Jeopardy and it was like, it is what it is, I would be like, what a New Yorker said first. It is what it is. That had to come from New York. That had to come from New York, a New Yorker saying it in New York to another New Yorker. It is what it is. And they was like, you right. Yeah, it is what it is. And it ain't what it ain't. But now with that said, I believe people are people everywhere. I have seen a good amount of this world, thankfully, and I plan to continue to see a lot of different parts of this world, but people are people. I used to think like, the French, ooh, right? I used to think that. Because, people say that in jest a lot. Like Paris was lovely if not for the Parisians. People say that in jest over the year. They say that, right? I did shows in Paris last year. Those people were nothing short of loving, affirming, supportive, fun, and told me like it is, like a lot of stuff. But I never felt feeling like, oof, they were rude people. But of course, I've had incidences in Paris that weren't ideal, that weren't my favorite interactions, But it's like, that's just a person in a place. It's just like when I go into a Jamaican restaurant. Every time you walk into a Jamaican restaurant, especially if the food is good, you walk into a Jamaican restaurant, they look at you crazy. What you doing here? Sorry for the bad asking. What? Asking, what you doing here? What you want? Well, okay, so what I'm doing here is this is a place of business, right, where you have food that I purchase and then you give it to me. So what I'm doing here is I'm here for the curry, the plantains, the rice and peas. I love them rice and peas. That's what I'm here for. Hopefully your cabbage is flavored right. Oh, you have callaloo? Oh, I'll take some callaloo. Absolutely. But that's what I'm here for. Listen, but everybody know. Don't expect no niceties, no politeness when you walk into a Jamaican restaurant. But guess what? Every time I have ever sat down, broke bread, spent time in a room, visited Jamaica, I have only been met with love, care, consideration, compliment. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people are people everywhere. Everywhere. Anyway, so y'all tell me, because I am so curious, and be reasonable, okay? Be reasonable, please. But tell me, what do you guys think, where do you guys think the nicest people come from? Like, you could be all around the world. You could talk about the United States. You could talk about whatever country or city you're in. But I really am curious because I'll be very honest with you. I felt like, so last year I was in Thailand, right? I went to like 5 different cities in Thailand, and I felt like, wow, these people are nice, like collectively. Like I felt like collectively the energy that sort of vibrates through them collectively as like a people. I know I felt like that was like the nice, in the largest span, I felt like those were the nicest people I had ever encountered. Now, let me be clear, which might make this completely null and void. I was staying at all 5-star properties. I was doing 5-star excursions. I was throwing around that Thai baht like I was a billionaire because the US dollar is so much stronger than the baht. So yeah, they gonna be nice to me. I'm gonna have nothing but pleasant experiences. But I firmly believe people are people everywhere. You know, I do think that you can feel certain things in certain regions. Like you can feel a collective, like societal baseline in every place. But I do feel like people are people. So y'all, let me know. Let me know in the comments, okay? Let me know what y'all think is like the nicest place. Let me know if you agree with him, if you think like, nah, the South is definitely nicer than New Yorkers. And et cetera, et cetera. Let me know what y'all think. Put it in the comments. Okay, you guys, let's talk about my shows. This weekend, I will be in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Boston. So Friday and Saturday, September 26th and 27th, I will be at the Punchline in Philly. The Punchline in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That is this Friday and this Saturday, September 26th and 27th. Then Sunday, I'm heading over to Boston, Massachusetts, September 28th. Sunday, September 28th, at the City Winery in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, if you haven't got tickets already and you want to get tickets, all you have to do is scroll down, and you'll find the ticket link in the details of this podcast, or you can just go to my website, which is ZainabJohnson.com, ZAINAB Johnson.com. Okay. If you got tickets, I'd love to see you. If you don't got tickets, but you plan on getting tickets, I'd love to see you. If you are not in Philadelphia or Boston, but you know some people who are, and you know that they're reasonable, and you know that they like good comedy, then make sure you recommend my show. Okay? I appreciate it. Donald Trump said, you pregnant and you got headaches, you better not take no Tylenol. According to, they took Jimmy Kimmel off the air and then put him right back on the air a little bit. News.com. Donald Trump claimed this past Monday that acetaminophen, which is the ingredient in Tylenol, the main ingredient in Tylenol, is linked to autism, despite experts warning that studies on the question are mixed and no publicly released studies show Tylenol is a direct cause of said autism. Okay, so I'm gonna be very honest with y'all. I don't have enough information to feel strongly one way or the other, but I'm one of those people, I don't be taking nothing. I got period cramps, so what? Let me lay down, let me go for a run, let me drink some water. Let me make sure I'm not eating foods that activate it. Let me, you know, like they make it worse. Let me just accept that this is part of the process. And please don't send me, I almost got upset. Don't take the time. Please don't even waste your typing fingers to be like, oh, pain during your cramps during your period is not normal. Shut up. I don't need you to tell me. Just please don't. For me, please. Okay, please. Okay. Ain't nobody saying they got severe cramps. Just try your best to resist. Actually try your best. Okay. Anyway. I got my period. I've got a head. You know, I got a migraine. I'm like, why do I have a migraine? I try to figure out why do I have I don't take anything. Like y'all know I be on the herbal remedies. I be popping, you know, echinacea and golden seals. Like somebody with halitosis be popping Tic Tacs. Like I was on a flight last night coming back from Atlanta. I was on a flight and a guy kept sneezing. I turned around. He sneezed once. I'm like, bless you. He sneezed twice. I had to turn back and look. Cause you know, here's the thing. When I hear a certain sneeze, I could tell if you covered your sneeze or not. I could tell if you did the vampire sneeze or if you just letting your sneeze travel. And when it sounds like you letting your sneeze travel, when it sounds like you are sneezing in the most inconsiderate way, I ain't trying to tell you not to sneeze. That's a bodily function. That is your body reacting to something and trying to get it out. I ain't trying to say don't sneeze, but there is a very reasonable and considerate way to sneeze. When his sneeze felt like it was out, like it was out and open in the world, I had to turn back and look at him. Took out my echinacea goes and seal as I kept eye contact with him and put it beneath my tongue. You ain't about to have me out here because you don't know how to cover your mouth. You ain't about to have me out here because you don't have consideration for your fellow human beings. You ain't about to have me out here sick because you're unreasonable. Oh, no, sir. Popping them. Okay? Yeah, popping them. But if it is true that Tylenol causes autism, how much Tylenol did Melania take? Because Byron's definitely on the spectrum. And now the podcast is canceled. But no, seriously, all jokes aside, I do not make fun of people's kids. Even when those kids get grown, I do not make fun of people's kids. Because one, I do not think that autism or any other disorder should have a negative stigma. Also, there are so many studies that show a variety of factors that contribute to autism, and still there's studies that can't explain it at all. You know, there's just so many different factors that seem to explain certain cases, and then a whole bunch of other factors where they're like, we don't even know. I did think it was really weird for the president of the United States to be disseminating that information. Not just disseminating the information. It seems like somebody just the head of like, you know, I don't know. Like, what was Dr. Fauci's role? I know we you know, Dr. Fauci, they ran Dr. Fauci out of town. But like, it just, I don't know. It seems like that sort of information is supposed to come from a medical professional. But also to sort of get, to sort of release that information so prematurely, you know, just seemed weird. But I mean, he is the same guy that told us to drink bleach to get rid of COVID, right? And said that the Haitians was eating the cats and the dogs and grab them by the pussy. Well, I guess it tracks. It was funny to hear him try to pronounce that word, acetaminophen.
The FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen.
The fact that his aides didn't put the phonetic spelling in his speech, the fact that he was reading off of a paper or reading off of a tablet, reading off of some sort of teleprompter, and they didn't put the phonetic spelling in it. They didn't have him. You know what he about to go out there and say. You know he about to go out there and attack Tylenol. By the way, it's not just in Tylenol. It's in Dayquil, NyQuil, some other things. Look it up. If you care, look it up. But you know he about to go out there and talk about this. Why wouldn't you have him? Because let's be honest. Some of those pharmaceutical words, they have so many syllables, and it's like, this is a tongue twister. This is gonna be a doozy to pronounce. You know, it got a bunch of these little short syllables, and you like, now why would y'all put all of this together? Oh, okay, we just gonna call it this. Somebody gonna come up with a name for this. But why wouldn't you have him say it 3 times? Why wouldn't you have it repeated until it flowed out of his mouth? Why wouldn't you do that? That's the thing I don't get about the people around him. As much as he definitely, you know, has convinced people to violate every sort of amendment, every sort of right, every sort of constitutional right, as much as I guess he has showed up as the boogeyman of his party, that people somehow seem to be convinced by, as much as I can accept that is who he is, if that's who he is, then why not always set him up for success? But see, when I be talking, sometimes I answer my own question. It's because the people around him, how could they set him up for success when they don't know no better? It's like in the 2016 term when he walked up the Air Force One and he had the toilet paper. I always think of that. Why don't y'all say it's a word? And the simple solution to get him to say that word right is one, go over the word with him a few times. Y'all got the time. Y'all got the time to say that word 3 times. And then write it phonetically. Because if he's just reading it, then write it phonetically. Why wouldn't y'all do that? Because y'all don't even. I'm asking a lot from the very little. Remember when we thought George W. was the worst it could get?
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Nope. Guess not. All right, Cardi B versus CRISSLE from The Read. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but there is a podcast titled The Read. It is hosted by Kid Fury and CRISSLE. Forgive me, I don't know CRISSLE's last name. I don't even know if she goes by a last name. But it's a long-running podcast. I feel like it was one of the original podcast. It's been out over 10 years. I dip and dab in it, like I listen sometimes, I don't listen, I actually, when I did start like listening, it was probably maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So but I know that it's been around for a very long time. Anyway, the format of the podcast, I believe, is they start out with like sort of pop culture stories, and moments and things like that. They might discuss sports. They do listener letters, and then they do a segment called The Read, which is really just their opinion on a person, place, or thing. Whatever it is that week, whatever they feel passionately about, they do The Read. And it's called, I think this comes from like the maybe definitely like the queer world, the read, like somebody is going to read you, like they're going to tell you how it is, right? But it's really just an impassioned opinion. So this past week, CRISSLE had an impassioned opinion with the help of Kid Fury, but mostly CRISSLE CRISSLE was the one who was very vocal about it, had an impassioned opinion about Cardi B, who was promoting her album that just came out, her second rap album that just came out, which I listened to. I liked it. My favorite song was, which I didn't even do this on purpose, but my favorite song is, I really like Hello, but my favorite song is the one that's Lizzo. And it's like a remake. It's like a sample. Yeah, it's a sample. But even knowing it was a sample, it still sounded. I'm like, Lizzo, when Lizzo want to put her foot in a song, when Lizzo want to like go to work on a song, she will go to work on a song. Like, I know they want Donna. I know they want Kelly. This is going to sound crazy. I know they want Kelly Rowland to play Donna Summers, and she probably already shot it, or they might be filming it already. I know that, and this is no shade to Kelly, because I just celebrated Kelly Rowland last week, right? But, and I know just aesthetically, Kelly Rowland is an obvious choice to play Donna Summers, but I feel like in her soul, in the energy of her artistry, Lizzo is really like more of the soul of a Donna Summers, if that makes sense. Do I even know enough of Donna Summers music to make that statement? I feel like I do. Anyway, I know the vibe. Anyway, Cardi B's album came out, and it hadn't come out yet when this episode was released. This episode maybe came out a day or two before Cardi's album dropped, which was last Friday, right? And Cardi B has been doing a lot of promotion for the album, and when she was on Gayle King's show, Gayle King asked her about the pregnancy rumors, and Cardi B was like, Yep, I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant by my boyfriend, Stefan Diggs, which I believe he is the football player, right? So Cardi B says yes. She says, yep, I am pregnant. She's happy about it. She is pregnant by her current boyfriend, Stefan Diggs, which, as I said, I believe he's a football player. And if you know anything about if you know anything about Cardi B's life right now, Cardi B was married to rapper Offset for like 7 or 8 years. I think from the outside looking in, it didn't seem to be like a respectful relationship because she was constantly filing for divorce. And this ain't hearsay. This is like what it is. She was constantly, like, she filed for divorce like a few times. And it was like out in the open because she shared it, how much he was cheating on her. And so most women, when another woman is telling that part of her story, most women are going to be like, you know, they're going to start singing Alicia Keys, when you going to wake up, baby? You know, like, when you going to wake up? You know, like, this can't be ideal, you know? And so eventually, I guess it got too much for Cardi B, and this last time when she filed for divorce, she actually went through with it, and they've been separated for a year, according to her, and they are going through a divorce that is only still a pending divorce because they don't agree on terms. Y'all, I done did too many podcasts. I have done too many podcasts about prenups and marriages and divorces and contracts, and when you ain't dealing with the person that you once loved, and that the person that you divorcing ain't the person that you marry. I done talked about it too many times. Go back to a previous episode. But apparently, you know, Offset is making some demands that Cardi B does not want to agree with. I believe the demands are like, he wants spousal support. He wants her to pay his tax bill. He wants a property that she owns, something like that, right? So anyway, yeah, of course, divorces be taking a long time if there's assets, right? And from what we can assess from Cardi B's success in her career is this: she got a lot of assets. Right? Offset too, but Cardi B has a lot of assets. And as we have seen from the last decade, these men ain't playing no more. Gone are the days where, you know, the conversation was this man has everything and this woman took half of it. Oh, no. These men have evened the playing field. Okay? Starting from the Sherry Shepherds of the world, the Kelly Clarksons, and now Offset, I guess, is trying Cardi B. The Halle Berrys, the men is like, yeah, I want everything she got. The Journey Smollett, I want everything she got. That's her pension. Yeah, I want part of the pension too. I don't care that I'm a man. Yeah, I don't care that I'm a man. What? Y'all want the gender equality, right? Y'all want the gender equality, right? Yeah, I'm gonna need half. No, I'm not about to go out and, yeah, because I'm accustomed to this life that I've been living with her. Yeah, I want half. Huh? Yeah, you keep saying, but I'm a man and I should go out and get a job. I know you keep saying that, but don't worry about what I'm doing. Just worry about how much money I would like from her. Could you tally it up? Anywho, in her separation, as much as the divorce isn't final, in Cardi B's separation, she got a boyfriend. She got a boyfriend, which is Stefan Diggs, and now she is pregnant with. And like many people, CRISSLE had an impassioned opinion. Some of the things that CRISSLE said, here, I'll have to read this because I'm not going to play it. The reason why I'm not going to play it is because it's last week's episode of The Read. If you want to listen to it, if you want to hear for context, if you need to make your own decision, go listen to it. They're a podcast and they stream. Let them get the stream. So I ain't about to just cut a clip from their podcast and put it on. First of all, I don't need the risk of them having YouTube take my podcast down, but also give them the streams. And we're going to talk about that in the Ask Z later. But give them the streams, right? It's very easy to, it's a free podcast. Go look for it. Anywho, so CRISSLE's points, Okay, let me just say them before I give my opinion. Crissle's points was, one, is poor timing. Cardi B is due like maybe at the very end of this year or the top of next year, January, and she goes on tour for this album that she just released. She goes on tour in February. So it's poor timing, right? She's saying, and that's just like a fact. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I don't know if that's a like shame on you, but it's not ideal. It's not ideal for nobody to have to go into work. Especially work that seems very demanding, like going on a national or worldwide tour where you're constantly traveling, constantly being around people, depending on what your choreography is and stuff like that. You have to, you know what I'm saying? You may have to physically exert yourself in a way that's hard for people, period. Especially for a woman who has just given birth. And this is what we have to wish for Cardi B and every other mother that is giving birth, that it's a successful and easy, or a birth that has no complications. You know, that's the thing that you have to like hope and wish and pray for. That's something else that you're not. So that's not a bad opinion for CRISSLE to have, that this is ill-timed, right? But it's Cardi B life. It's Cardi B's life and her choice, right? Then the second thing that second point that CRISSLE made was, it was like neglectful parenting, and in a way that, and I don't want to speak for CRISSLE, which is why I'm saying y'all can go check out the read. I don't know CRISSLE. I have never met her. Like I said, I chime into a few, I tune into a few of the episodes, but I am in no way, I am in no way the authority or have anything more than you have to assess this situation, so I don't want to put words in CRISSLE's mouth. But CRISSLE, she claimed that because Cardi B's wealth, she's shielded from the realities of parenting, and she claimed that Cardi B uses an assortment of nannies to raise her children, which is totally fine. And CRISSLE made a great point. I don't care what nobody say. She said it's not about money, because a lot of us sort of like default to that argument, right? Well, she got money. Like it's only hard to raise a kid when you ain't got enough money. But she got the money. And then CRISSLE makes a very good point. She says if money were all you needed to produce a viable, reasonable, intelligent, well-rounded person in this world, then how did we get Donald Trump? How did we get all of these crazy people, these unreasonable people, these, that come from these privileged backgrounds? That's a point you can't be mad at, right? But it's also an assumption. You're assuming that Cardi B is only able to be a good parent because of the wealth that she has. Then another point that CRISSLE made in her read was that she's going to get a mommy makeover, which is probably true, but probably like should be the least. Let me think about this. Okay, because at first it was like a joke. It was a bit of a joke because Kid Fury thought that Cardi B said in one of her lives or interviews, he thought that she said, yeah, I'm working out, I'm stressed. And CRISSLE sort of stopped him and was like, she didn't say she was working out. She said she's stretching. She was like, and most likely what she's going to do, and this is another assumption on CRISSLE's behalf, she was like, most likely what she's going to do is push the baby out, and before they cut off the umbilical, now I'm adding stuff because she did not say this, but before the baby, before they cut the umbilical cord, Cardi gonna be on the surgical table getting a mommy makeover, which that is an assumption. Cardi B has had mommy makeover. She's very vocal about her surgeries, right? But that's probably like the most unreasonable part of her business that we should be in. But CRISSLE did say something, if I remember correctly. She did say like, and you gonna be on that table, and hopefully you survive, because this surgery has been killing a lot of people. There's a lot of, and I think that that's a reasonable thing to remind people of in their rant, because just the human condition, I think the human condition, a lot of people lack willpower, but also so many people are mean in the world. It seems like a more viable option to do an easy fix. Do you get what I'm saying? Here's the thing. Cardi B could pop that baby out, be out of shape, big as a house, all discombobulated in the body, and go on tour, and people would have she would get a barrage of the most negative comments. You know, either way, she in between a rock and a hard place, which is, yeah, well, if I look bad, y'all gonna have something to say. And if I go lay on this table and look good, y'all gonna have something to say. And I think CRISSLE's point is that's why it's ill-timed, because you're not even there's also that C option, which is you can take the time to go to the gym. You could take the time to build your body back right. But if you pushing out a baby in January and then you're supposed to go on tour in February, how is that giving yourself enough time that is needed for most human beings to bounce back from the marvel of giving birth, you know? Anyway, and then of course CRISSLE leaned into her questionable life partners, and as I said in the beginning, that's also, you know, I mean, it's also an assessment that somebody can make, right? It's like, you stayed with this man, you got with this man, all we know of him is cheating on you. Every single thing we know about him is like, y'all got children and he cheated, y'all got like, that's it. That really is. You know, that really has, when I think of Cardi B and Offset, I don't think like a lot of love. I'm sure that at some point they loved each other. I'm sure that at some point she probably really loved him. I'm sure that they loved their children, you know? And that's the thing. CRISSLE didn't say anything about her children, you know? Cause CRISSLE is reasonable, in my opinion, and intelligent enough. Like, she's aware enough, rather, that she knows who her target is, I'll say. And her target was Cardi B's decision making, not the actual children. Cardi B responded and was like, "It's not your business. I love my kids. I could do what I want. I could go on tour, blah, blah, blah. But regardless of Cardi B's response, the internet, this is what I was so surprised about, the internet's attack on CRISSLE. And I don't even mean, you know how like everybody know, you say something about Beyonce, the Beehive, they gonna come buzzing. You say something about Nicki Minaj, you know what I'm saying? The Barbs, they gonna prance right in and try to kill you, right? At least online, kill you with characters. But the people that I saw, the content creators that I saw that had strong opinions about CRISSLE's take on Cardi B's baby announcement, they seemed there was like a vitriol that was kind of shocking to me. They was bringing up, which this is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Some lady was like, first of all, she chose to show, this is how when you know when somebody is just trying to destroy you. She chose to show like one of probably like the worst pictures of CRISSLE on the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I have so many like beautiful images of myself, but if somebody wants to be like, and you hear this stupid ass comedian, don't know what she's talking about, and then they show y'all the worst picture of me, it's like, okay, yeah, you really are trying to create a certain narrative, right? I just felt like the way the internet is, I don't know, responding to CRISSLE's read, I guess they're reading her, but it does seem sort of unreasonable. I never knew this because, again, I haven't tuned into them as long as they have been out. But people was talking about, you got caught for stealing you was fired for fraud, like a bunch of stuff, just bringing out so many quote unquote negative, disparaging things that to dispute her ability to give an opinion on Cardi B. And in my opinion, it don't matter what that lady did. It don't matter how much you don't like her. It don't matter how much of a fan that you are of Cardi B. I am also a fan of Cardi B to a certain extent. Like Am I the Drama? I've listened to it 4 times already. And let me just tell you what, I did not think that was going to be the case. I have listened to it 4 times. It has been my go-to. I've listened to it from start to finish 4 times already. It just came out. I don't know if it came out 4 days ago, and I have listened to it 4 times. But even still, with that said, even still with that said, I don't disagree with the things that CRISSLE said at all, actually. I think she made some valid points, but I think that what I am always aware of is it's just her opinion. And a lot of time, an opinion isn't fact. And I don't even think I think Cardi B said something that was very interesting. She said in her response to CRISSLE, she said, I don't know if you mad, like if you didn't accomplish something in your own life, and that's the reason why you are responding to my life in this way. Because you know what I think it was? I don't think that it was CRISSLE's opinion necessarily that got people sort of like baffled or responding so negatively to her. I think it was the intensity in which she shared that opinion. And then the mommy makeover part, that was the part that kind of probably felt like a dig. It probably felt like, oh, okay, no, you're literally verbally attacking me, you know? But I also agree, for anybody, Cardi B aside, you having a baby in January, it's not ideal to go on tour in February. Even if you do it and successfully do it, and it's a success, that's amazing. You still did something successfully with unideal circumstances, you know? And so it is interesting for you to make that choice. You know, if a man cheats on you and publicly, and you know, that's what we know really of your relationship, the expectation is that you are, 1, going to get out of that relationship, and 2, you are going to let that guide you in the choices that you make moving forward. And if the choices that you make moving forward are with a man that has not, a man that you haven't been with very long, right? A man that you haven't been with very long, but also a man who alleged to have a child in the same time. Now, y'all, you know, that you guys were together. Now, here's the thing. Y'all know mathematics. So CRISSLE did say this, and I think, so she was like, okay, allegedly there is some woman that has a 5-month-old, right? And if she has a 5-month-old, then that means that she was pregnant during the course of your relationship with this man, right? Now, here's the thing. She might have been pregnant, but that don't mean that they was together. You know, we just do the math. You pregnant for 9 months. So they could have been they could have been not together from after the first day that they conceived the child. So that's a whole 9 months, and then the baby is 5 months old. That man might not have nothing to do with that woman. So while CRISSLE made really good points, and she was really impassioned, and she spoke a bit coarsely in her impassioned opinion, she also made a lot of assumptions. But here's the thing, that's what we do. That's what we do, and Cardi B's life has been for public consumption for a very long time, and it seems like it will continue to be that way. Baby aside, and like I say this respectfully and with love, baby aside, I don't know if Cardi B, if that's a tour I would see. And I don't say that. Like I interviewed Cardi B very briefly at the start, at the height, like when she was first, like Bodak Yellow, but you know what I'm saying? And I remember, I think I've said this to you guys before, I remember her having a bit of a guard up. I interviewed Cardi B before like a lot of the cosmetic work. And like the face cosmetic work, the teeth cosmetic, like I interviewed her before that. And I remember I said to her, because I could tell she was kind of like guarded. I remember saying to her, you know, it's okay if you don't want to, like, we'd love to talk to you. Because it was like at the BET Awards. And so we had to get people when they were getting off stage. We were backstage and they had this whole setup and we had to get people when they were coming off stage, right? And so it's funny, I interviewed Cardi B and the Migos at the time. But she was like, slowed down and looked like, should I stop? And then I said to her, I was like, you can stop if you want, but if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to stop. I said, but we won't say any, like, you don't have to talk or do anything you don't want to do. And I think not that Cardi B remembers this interaction at all, but I do believe that my reassurance, like, girl, you safe. This ain't a setup. This ain't it. We want to talk to you because you are a very popular artist and we streaming right now. You get what I'm saying? We on a live stream right now. And if we get this interview with you, it's going to make the streams go crazy because you are who you are and you know the effect that you have had on the public, you know? But just know this ain't a setup. You are in complete control. Like, this ain't a setup. And so she sat down. She sat down for, I don't know, 2-3 minutes and let us interview her. Me and the comedian Chris Spencer, she let us interview her. And I was the one closest to everybody, right? And I remember sitting next to her, I could just feel her energy. Her energy was of a sweet girl, but also her world was changing very fast. Her world was changing very fast, you know? And I can't imagine how that feels. Also, I think, and you guys let me know wait, let me finish my thought. I'm so sorry. That was like a disclaimer, right? So that the next thing I'm about to say ain't like a dig at Cardi B. I also, as much as I've enjoyed Invasion of Privacy, her first album, and I am enjoying this album, I don't know if I go to it. I don't know if I'd run to buy a Cardi B tour ticket. And it's only because I have never seen in all the clips of all her shows, I never really seen a performance that made me go, oh yeah, she going to do the thing. Do I believe it's going to look beautiful? Probably. Do I believe she going to have a bunch of dancers and accoutrement around her? Probably. But do I think that she is going to, and I don't want to compare, but it's like, I don't know. You know, it's just like I'm going to listen to the music. Girl, I'm going to play. I don't know how much you get from streams, but I'm going to stream it for you. I'm going to stream it over and over and over. But so baby or not is what I'm saying. Baby or not. I'll go for free. I'll definitely go for free. I will go absolutely. If somebody's like, I got these Cardi B tickets, you want to come with me? I would be like, for sure. Absolutely, I'll go with you. But like, you know, waking up at midnight trying to get to Ticketmaster, or I probably won't do that. But also, you know, tell me what you guys think. Yeah, tell me what you guys think. Do you think that, like, reply to Crystal's points. Do you think it's poor timing? Do you think that her choices in men have not are not the best? Do you think that she gonna be in the gym, or you think she just getting a mommy makeover, or both? You know, do you think that her parenting, because I think this was the biggest point. I'm glad I remembered this. I think we all have like these ideals, right? I was going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel, but I don't think. We all have these ideals, right? That like, if we do this, like we have the syllabus for life, right? And if we do these things correctly, if we do these things in the ideal way, then it will yield an ideal result, right? There might be a few bumps on the road. There might be a few surprises, right? There might be a few things that we can't account for. But for the most part, you know, if we maintain these sort of like ideal contexts or ideal scenarios, then the outcome should be mostly favorable, right? I have since, because I used to be a person that thought that too, like, yeah, like kids that come from like a healthy household, they tend to be, like reasonable adults, reasonable contributors to the society. But again, back to my very opening point, people are people everywhere. Yo, me and my siblings, it's 13 of us. It's 13 of us. We have the same two parents, all 13 of us. We have the same two parents. For the most part, was in the same environment all of our lives. We are so different. There's a lot of similarities. It's a lot. We look a lot alike. If you see one of us in one part of the world and one of the other siblings on another part of the world, you might double take like, damn, that boy looked like Zainab. That girl looked like Zainab. But we have some similarities. But we have a lot of differences. And I think me being from such a large family, that is my that's my proof right there that it really, these sort of these things, that these ideals that we hold on to, we can control the outcome. Obviously, somebody that has more money, more privilege, they have more access to control their outcome, right? But we know that we've had some people who are the most reasonable people come from the most unideal environment. And then we have people who come from what people would call the best environments, and they the worst people. And so I think that is anybody that was online saying it was a sort of antiquated, like they were kind of surprised because CRISSLE can sometimes be very open-minded and forward thinking. It kind of felt a bit it felt a bit like what they was calling Sherry Shepherd, when Sherry Shepherd had that comment about Megan Thee Stallion, showing all her goodies. And it can feel a bit limiting, just because you come from a household that has both the parents and reasonable income, and you have time for the kid, you know what I'm saying? You're not somewhere off on tour and that you are, the assumption that is going to produce a lovely human being, a lovely, productive human being in this world. That's really kind of not true. And we've seen the proof of that. That's why we always be kind of baffled, right? When somebody be when they got a beautiful family and they still a murderer, we be like, huh? But wait, your parents loved each other. They ain't do no wild stuff behind closed doors. Y'all was healthy. They fed you on time. You grew up in a nice neighborhood. Your school was good. You maintained good grades. You had a good friend group. You wasn't a bully. You didn't get bullied. You have reasonable level of intelligence. The girls liked you. The boys liked you. Whatever. All of these things that we deem positive, right? You know what I'm saying? You good looking and you still out here murdering? That don't add up. Because there's these other factors, right? In the same way that when somebody beats the odds, right? Meaning that all the odds are against them. You ain't know your mama. You ain't know your daddy. The only person that ever loved you and raised you, your grandmama, she died early, unfortunately. You was in and out of foster care. Everybody was broke, rich. You ain't good looking. You ain't that smart. Blah, 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 blah. And now you done created a company and you worth $1 billion. And people be like, what y'all think? You ever be talking and get lost in your own point? Where was I going with this? I don't know. What do y'all think? All right. Jimmy Kimmel, real quick. Jimmy Kimmel was on the air. Then he had said something about MAGA and the man that got shot and killed in Utah. And then they took him off the air, and they was indefinitely. And then they put him back on the air. He actually doing a show tonight. I'm recording this before his actual show, so that's something we're going to have to talk about another time. I am interested. What he going to say? What is he going to say? Anyway, them rich white liberals, they was like, oh, no. Oh, no, we got to write letters. We got to cancel our Disney Plus and our Hulu. And then they got online and told everybody else, we got to cancel our Disney Plus and our Hulu. And I was like, wait a second. Ain't Reasonable Doubt on Hulu? And it ain't even drop all 8 episodes, right? Or 10 episodes, however much. So I couldn't even watch it for the whole weekend and then cancel. I was like... But after losing almost 6 million, after losing almost 6 billion, ABC Disney was like, oh yeah, nah, we got to bring Kimmel back. Because, we was just playing. The local affiliate stations owned by Sinclair and Nexstar, they was like, nah, we standing on it. He ain't getting back on our air. They're going to just replay the news or play the news. I do love the white on white crime, though, because nothing muddies the water. You know, you can't talk about like, oh, it was a black person, it was a brown person, it was somebody from you know what I'm saying? You can't say it just is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It's hard to place blame when you looking at you. It's just rich white people fighting with rich white people, trying to suppress the speech of rich white people. I'm like, look at that. Look at that. You know, that's why racism is so easy, because racism is simply based off of the color of your skin. And that is the easy way to identify somebody. It is the easiest identifier. Oh, yeah, I don't need to know nothing about your life. All I got to know is your skin is darker than mine. And therefore, there's these things in place to discriminate against you, to limit you. That's why racism is so successful, because it's so easy. Listen, social class, that make it a little bit hard, right? Because everybody could get money. Eventually, everybody could get money. So if you're saying you can only be a part of this social class, right? But then somebody else get more money than you, well, then what you going to do? Also, you could be in a room with somebody and not know what they have, right? So how can you then target? How can you then suppress them? How can you then make a decision on what they should have, what access they should or shouldn't have if you can't see their money? But the color of people's skin, that's the thing we can't hide. That's why racism is so successful and so easy, because it's based on the one thing you can't hide or change. As much as people be trying. But remember I said this, I think after the election, that we're going to have to pick our battles. We are going to have to pick our battles. I can't fight every fight, even if I agree with the fight. Yes, of course, protect free speech. Yes, on both sides. But my good whites, this y'all thing. So go ahead and get your boy back on TV. Also, since I'm taping this before his actual show, I need y'all to put it in the comments. What did he say? How do we feel about it? Y'all let me know in the comments. I did think this was funny. Colbert, when they released that Jimmy Kimmel was returning, Colbert tweeted or posted somewhere. He said, CBS, you want to announce anything? I mean, I'm kidding, but I ain't. You know, when you say something in a joke, but you like, but I'm dead serious. Is there something you want to say, CBS? Did you too make a mistake? This is another reminder about my upcoming shows. This weekend, I will be in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Friday, September 26th and Saturday, September 27th. Then I will be at the City Winery in Boston, Sunday, September 28th. That is Boston, Massachusetts, the City Winery this Sunday in Boston, Massachusetts. I think there's a couple of tickets left for that show in Boston, a few tickets left. So make sure you guys get them before they sell out. Please, I ain't going through this again. But if you have not got your tickets, all you got to do is scroll down, and in the details of this podcast, you'll find the link to get my tickets. All the tickets to my show. Here are all the cities that I will be in, even beyond this weekend, okay, for 2025. Also, you can just go to my website, ZainabJohnson.com, and you can get tickets there. Okay, before we get out of here, Ask Z, right? Now, typically, you guys send me an Ask Z, right? Which, if you would like to do, all you have to do is send an email with the subject line reads, with the subject line reading Ask Z to my email address, which is ZainabComedyVIP. That's ZainabComedyVIP@gmail.com. So typically you guys will write in a letter to me and I would try my best to let you guys know, I don't know, whatever question you're asking me, is something reasonable? Is it unreasonable? What's the solution? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Today, I have a question for you all. So, you guys know that, some of my friends or really close associates are comedians, right? Comedians that I support. And if you guys came to the show in New York City that I did with fellow comedians, Yamaneika Saunders, Chloe Hilliard, Amina Imani, and myself, when we did a show called The Hike, which we're doing again for New York Comedy Festival. I'll have the details for that upcoming shows. But it was a really fun time. If you came to that show because you know me and then became familiar with the other women, that's a wonderful thing, right? I have been on this podcast before. I have talked about Yamaneika Saunders. She is a friend of mine who I met through comedy. Her and I actually met in the elevator when we were filming Last Comic Standing. Yamaneika is very different from me. Very, very different from me. Meaning her... the way in which she communicates, her aesthetic, the way she exists in the world is rather different from me. I will say though, she is very funny. The things that we have in common, very, very, or similar, the things that are similar about us rather. She's very funny. She's highly intelligent. She is a bit more brash than I am. Way more, actually. She says the N-word way more than I do. But also too, and this is so you guys know how fair I am. Yamaneika is much more unreasonable than I am. Outwardly, she is much more unreasonable. But in terms of her soul and her person, she is one of the most generous people I have ever met. She is one of the kindest people that I have ever met. She is one of the most giving and nurturing people that I have ever met. And those are qualities that are important to me. Anyway, Yamaneika always goes live. Yamaneika be on Instagram. She be on YouTube. She always goes live, right? And she, when she goes live, contrary to me, very different than me, I don't be putting out no Patreon, no Cash App, no none of that, right? When I was going live and y'all was sending me, some YouTube money or something, I'm like, oh, I get a coffee, I get a matcha, right? Yamaneika, she goes live a lot. She is constantly interfacing with her online community. She is constantly putting up content, right? And then she realized that she was too accessible. And so she would put up the content for a limited time and then she would put it behind like a subscription wall, right? And you'd have to subscribe to her Patreon, which is a reasonable, decent thing. So many people have them, right? I'll click onto YouTube one day and I start watching this live of Yamaneika, right? And then I realized oh, wow, I've heard this before. I must have watched this live before, right? And so I'm like, oh, I watched this live on her. I watched part of this live on her Instagram. And I was like, oh, she must be taking her Instagram posts and posting them on YouTube, right? Which I have no problem with. And so I just scrolled down to kind of see what her caption was to see if she was saying that, right? This was from IG, but I'm putting it on YouTube. And when I scroll down, I see that someone else has posted it. And what's so crazy is right after that, I see another live from her where she's like, yeah, somebody is stealing my videos. Somebody is stealing my videos from Instagram and posting them on YouTube, right? And it makes sense that they would not repost her videos on YouTube because YouTube, once I post a video on YouTube, then it's copyright. I own I control the usage of it, right? But YouTube doesn't recognize anything from Instagram, right? So this person has been doing it, and they don't do it to just her. They do it to multiple content people who go live on Instagram, and then they take their full, they basically screenshot it, I guess, screen record it, and then they post it on YouTube, right? Now, this is something that's happened. I don't like it. It's basically like you basically creating a channel you basically are trying to build something on the back of someone else's work, right? So I don't like that, but it is what it is. Now, this is where I come to the reasons, right? Because I wouldn't actually talk about this if not for this. As I'm scrolling down to see as I discover rather that this isn't Yamanika posting. Well, let me see if Yamanika is familiar with this person. So let me go into the comments and see if she, because it's that might happen. I remember a little while ago, there was a British comedian who has a shaved head, who I've recently met. I actually met her in Edinburgh. I met her last year in London. She came to my show, but then I met her in Edinburgh last month, right? And she has some bits about having a shaved head, right? And I was getting a lot of messages on TikTok when her video was going viral. I was getting a lot of messages on TikTok like, she stole Zainab's joke. She stole Zainab Johnson's joke. Zainab Johnson did this joke 7 years ago, blah, 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 blah. And I commented under because they're doing that. They're putting those comments under her video. So I could have chosen to not say anything, right? I watched the joke. I could have chosen to not say anything, but instead I wrote a comment under the video and I was like, hey, this is a funny black woman and she has a shaved head. It is not beyond the stretch of our imagination to believe and know that we're going to have similar experiences. When I told a joke that had the same elements as this, I had a shaved head. And so I remember living through what she is talking about. I was like, so I would not say that she is doing my material, but instead she has had a very similar lived experience, and therefore she's talking about it in a very humorous way, right? And so once I did that, that stopped a lot of people coming to me with the accusation somebody is taking your intellectual property, right? So I'm going through the comments to see, maybe Yamanika is like, hey y'all, this is so-and-so, he works for me, he's like my social media man, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, right? I was very surprised when I saw one comment. It was one comment from someone who I remember used to comment a lot. I used to see their comments a lot on I'm Reasonable. They used to be on the live with us and everything. When I say used to be, it's because I don't see them no more. And that's actually fine by me. I actually think I know who it is. I was so surprised when I saw their comment. Their comment read, I'm so happy you're, no. Let me get it verbatim. I don't want to misquote anybody. I had to screenshot it. Dang, I hope I still have it. This person who probably still does tune into this podcast, right? Said, thanks for uploading this. She's so rude to her fans. I would rather watch her content on this page. The next comment says, why are you stealing Yamanika's content? That's really what you're supposed to say if you're a fan of somebody, right? Could you imagine? Could you imagine loving my comedy? Could you imagine loving my comedy and not liking an experience and thinking so many people that's part of certain people's charm. I'm not like that. I'm very nice and reasonable. But some entertainers, part of their charm is that they kind of bitchy. That's part of their persona. Yamanika being one of them. Naomi Campbell, Mariah Carey, Nicki Minaj, Doja Cat. They tell their fans off all the time and be like, I'm done with y'all. It gets them more fans. That's part of their thing. But could you imagine being a fan of mine and going to somebody else's show and watching them do my show and saying, I'm so happy you doing her show because I really love her stuff, but I don't like her. But she ain't really, she mean to her fans. So I'm going to come get her stuff. I'm going to come get her stuff from you. Can you imagine? I could not even, you basically saying, I'm so happy you stole this. I'm so happy you stole this because she is not nice to her fans. I'm so happy you stole this. I love her content so much that I'm willing to get it from a thief. But I want her content and I don't want her attitude. I think if I would have just read that comment and the username was unfamiliar to me, I think I would have been like, well, this person's clearly unreasonable. But because y'all, it's almost like if it was Sadaka or why is the name escaping me right now? Y'all know the reasons. It's almost like if it was what's Fendi? Fendi, what's your name? What's your username? Bankroll. It's almost like if it was Bankroll Fendi. It wasn't. And obviously it wasn't none of the names that I'm saying. It wasn't none of my reasonable people. But I felt so betrayed. Like, I felt so like, oh my God. I thought everybody that tuned into me was reasonable. But then when I thought back to it, I was like, I remember reading certain comments and getting certain messages, like private messages from that user and thinking like, wow, the nerve. I remember thinking that, which is probably why I don't really see them commenting anymore. So I ask you guys, I ask my reasons. Is it reasonable for someone to be delighted that another content creator is stealing somebody's content just because they don't like the persona of the person that creates that content? It's like, I know you painted that picture, but you ain't really say hi to me. You ain't talk to me as long as I wanted you to talk to me. So I'm going to go get this person to paint that same picture. And not only are they going to paint the picture, I'm going to hang it in my house and I'm going to say you painted the picture. Because everybody knows how talented you are. They love your talent. But for some reason, they think they entitled to some specific personality from you. Y'all, I felt like, you know what I felt like? And then I'm going to go, I felt like, now my kids. It's like when you think, going back to if you could raise a kid, right? How can you raise it? That's how I felt, y'all, to bring it full circle. I felt like what a lovely home I built for my reasons. What a lovely 2-parent, well-adjusted home with love that I curated for my reasons. And to see them out in the world being so unreasonable. How? Tell me what y'all think. Okay, one last plug. Here's my dates. Make sure y'all get y'all tickets. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Zainab Johnson. This is I'm Reasonable. Until I talk to you guys next time, try your best to be reasonable, okay? You never know what's going on in people's life, what they're going through, and a lot of times we have to show up in the world and still smile when there's a lot that's happening in our personal lives, especially people who are public facing, people who are performers. We show up to you guys when we show up, and we try to bring like great energy and joy and stuff. And sometimes we got a lot going on, a lot of things that are really trying going on, and it helps when we encounter people who are supremely reasonable. So yeah, try your best, okay? Until next time, I will talk to y'all later. Bye.